When Honey Boy was first announced, I thought it was going to be an awful film. The lead, Lucas Hedges, was an actor that I thought was unconvincing and underwhelming in all his roles, and I thought the idea of Shia LaBeouf making a movie about his life was hilarious given his creative past. He announced his project when he was in the middle of a terrible art house comeback, which featured creative misfires like Charlie Countryman and the Nymphomaniac films. Granted, the film Honeyland was great, but that was due to the director, not his mediocre performance, and his presence really dragged the movie down. I didn't have much faith in both his ability to pick projects or his ability to perform well in them. That changed after watching Peanut Butter Falcon, which is both a good film and features a career best performance from Shia. This led me to go watch Honey Boy with an open mind, and to be honest, it was pretty decent. Granted, this isn't the masterpiece that some people are claiming it to be, but it's still good. Throughout the movie, we follow a grown Shia played by Lucas Hedges as he goes through his latest stint in rehab. While there, he recalls moments from his childhood. These memories barge in anytime he's reminded about his dad. These triggers can be simple things like a cigarette or a pool. The film tells us that Shia has PTSD, both through dialogue and how the flashbacks are presented. Lucas Hedges does a fine job, but towards the end he drops Shia's speech pattern, which is just jarring. Most of the time that's spent in the present isn't really that captivating. It does serve its purpose, but it isn't really interesting aside from the ending confrontation. Luckily for us, the majority of the time we spend is with the young Shia, while he deals with his mentally and physically abusive dad. What's fairly apparent in those flashback scenes is that young Shia, or as the film calls him, Otis, is in desperate need of affection from his father, so desperate that he imitates him, to perhaps find a common ground with him, and to fully understand him so that they could communicate properly. There are a lot of scenes that communicate this, which gets kinda tedious after a while. One of the sequences lasts the span of a song. While I understand the purpose of it, I don't think it was deep enough to justify its length. You get the gist after the first couple seconds, but it just goes on and lacks any emotional impact. The same can be said for the rest of the movie. Decent in concept but poor in execution. The screenplay feels as if Shia himself doesn't understand what he wants to do or communicate, aside from his dad made him who he is. Shia gives a great performance, which is both sweet and vile. The scene where the young Shia confronts his dad contains Shia's best acting. He's incredibly reactive and perfectly elevates the scene. The editing and framing at times is extremely jarring, but I can't help but feel like it's like that for a reason. Maybe it's supposed to mimic the obtrusive nature of PTSD attacks. I don't think that many people that aren't already fascinated by Shia, or child actors in general, will enjoy or appreciate this movie. Honey Boy strives to stir his audience emotions, but it doesn't quite achieve that. Much like Shia himself, Honey Boy is deeply flawed but utterly captivating. It's worth watching if you're interested in the enigma that is Shia LaBeouf. If you're not, then you might as well skip it, or place it lower on your watch list.